Good morning. I'm freezing here. It's so cold in Florida. I'm completely frozen to death like an iguana. And the only good thing about today is that I got an amazing guest for you. And my guest today is David Gresen, the legendary David Gresen, who is a managing partner of KLG, New York founded, New York and Florida based, providing nationwide services for forensic accountant, business valuations, and lots of other things. So we'll be interviewing David today about all of those things to find out more about what he does and why he is so famous. Hi,
Good
David.
morning, Anna. That's very nice introduction. Thank you.
Well, let's see if you feel the same way by the time we finish, because this podcast is grilling people. David, you see financial lives for living. You come in and, as a forensic accountant, I'm sure you get exposed to a lot of different cases. What lie do business owners repeat most often when lawyers sit in the room?
Um, uh, well, it's usually the business owners. They're in some sort of a litigation, and there is a common theme when they are having their business investigated or valued, and we call it RAIDS, recently acquired income deficiency syndrome. So the constant, I don't know if you want to call it a lie, but the same message over and over again, what they're trying to push is that for whatever reason, their business is in a downturn. It's the worst it's ever been. There's no way out, and there's no way that they're going to be continued to be able to make the money that they've made in the past going forward.
Interesting. So, have you had a client story that you can share where someone was convinced everything was clean and the numbers told a different story within hours?
So, something that comes to mind. I don't know if you want to say it was clean. It was in a family divorce matter, and we were brought in to value one business. And the non-business owner was not that concerned, but wanted us to go through the books and records to make sure everything was legit. So we were going through the business records, and something didn't quite look right. And then what we did is we asked for some personal records because we saw a lot of money going to other camps that we weren't aware of.
Mm.
And long story short, this was a New York matter. The family was in New York at that time. Their children were in their young to mid 20s. And we found that the business owner had another family with the
Oh,
same age children in another
oh,
in another country. So, and that was a surprise to everybody. Nobody ever thought that that was going to be it. But by going through and doing what we did, we were able to determine that there was a whole other family, all other children. All the children were about the same age as the children in the family that we were working with, and so that was a unusual story. You have sometimes that you got stories similar to that, but that
yeah.
one was a big one.
It sounds like a movie script. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't realize your job is so exciting as well. So, speaking about divorce cases, because I know that it's quite often business owners getting divorced or business partners getting business divorce, where they call someone like you, your company. So, in a case of a divorce, who hides money better, business owners or the advisors?
Um, I would say the business owners, so as far as their advisors, the business owners, as long as they're savvy and, it could be with help with advisors setting up shell corporations, offshore funds.
Mhm.
It's harder today to do it than it was, quite a number of years ago. Of course, there's way better technology. Most transactions are electronic transactions now or go through a bank. So, unless it's a truly an all cash business, at the end
Mhm.
of the day, if we're looking for it, we're going to find it.
Oh, okay. So, I know part of your job is sometimes you get called in depositions in court to testify as an expert. You're an expert witness. So, thinking about you testifying in court, what mistake do attorneys make when which weakens your testimony before cross-examination even starts?
Not preparing with me. I mean, that's the number one thing is for the attorneys, no matter how financially savvy they are, they've got a whole bunch of balls in the air. So they're not just dealing with the finances, they're dealing with a whole bunch of other legal issues as well. And if we're not on the same page and if they don't totally understand what I've done, and
Hmm.
to the point where, that because it's easy on direct. A lot of attorneys will ask me to help them script my direct. So they could ask me the questions that I wrote down for them. But if they don't understand the context and there's an objection from the other side, or if they on cross-examination, if they don't understand the context and what my work is done and understand how my work is done and how I did my work and what the findings mean, they're not going to be able to do a proper redirect. So
Hmm.
I'm never concerned on direct.
Hmm.
I'm not concerned on cross-examination because I know my work. I know what I've done.
Hmm.
The time I'm most concerned when I'm testifying is redirect if an attorney hasn't properly prepared with me and understand what the financial issues are that I'm testifying to.
Hmm. Interesting. I know that business valuation cases and fights get ugly very fast. So, what single assumption causes the biggest dollar swing in court?
Do you mean like the battle between the experts, or do you
Yeah.
mean like the battle between the experts? Well, first of all, the information that we've been provided with. Hopefully, we're all working off of the same information,
Hmm.
and that both sides have, provided all of the information to each other. So, working off of all the information. Because if we're not, then we're going to have divergent, numbers. And then there are subjective, parts to a business valuation. It's not there's a bunch of subjective parts, and to that they could have, depending upon the dollar amount that we're dealing with. If you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, it shouldn't be that much of a swing. But if you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars, just a few percentage points difference in some sort of an assumption going into evaluation can be a huge swing.
So I see on your LinkedIn profile on your websites there are references to computer forensics, which sounds very fancy and very dangerous. So have you seen a stupid digital mistake that exposes fraud almost every time?
So yeah, so not so much a mistake, but we'll bring in computer forensic experts to go through to see if there were any alterations to the accounting books and records. So because if we're going through a electronic accounting system like a QuickBooks or something like that, there are they're very easily manipulated.
Mm,
And a computer forensic person could come in and determine what's been altered
mm,
and what's been deleted, what's been added. And so on cases where current perfect examples are when we're doing restaurants, when we're valuing restaurants or determining the true income of a restaurant, to
mhm,
go through the point of service system that the restaurant has and to see if that's been altered or manipulated, we bring in computer forensics to help us with it.
mm. Interesting. I wasn't aware of it at all. I'm glad I don't own a restaurant. Uh,
It doesn't
and
mean that the food's not good. It just means that yeah, they're just not reporting their income properly.
yeah. I know you also work on quite a few shareholder disputes. So when business partners fall out, what early red flag tells you that litigation is unavoidable?
Um, if you can't get them both in a room together, if you
Mhm.
can't get any document production from one side, if one shareholder locked the other shareholder out and there's no discovery and they're not providing any documentation, even after they've been ordered by a court to produce some, then
Mhm.
you're in it for the long haul.
Mm, okay. And I guess, like, from your point of view, is it always better to avoid litigation from your experience and try to settle outside the court, or do you feel that sometimes litigation is necessary and unavoidable?
Well, obviously, sometimes litigation is necessary and unavoidable, which is unfortunate because at the end of the day, you're having a judge make a decision off of, which is in a lot of cases a very big life-changing financial decision for the
Yeah.
litigants. And their main objective is to, one, provide justice, but to to get this matter off their calendar, to go on to the next matter.
Mhm.
So they don't have the depth of knowledge about people's lives, people's financial backgrounds, what's going on in the businesses. They're
Mhm.
making decisions off of this. So we always try. It's always preferable to settle a case. because you could settle a case and you don't have anyone dictating the terms to you. We're trained in mediation. We're trained in collaborative divorce training also. And it's always preferable to settle a
Mm.
case rather than to litigate it. Nobody wins when you litigate a financial case.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of estate tax, gift tax, I think that kind of work attracts creative math. Where do clients push hardest and then get burnt later?
If so, when you're talking about estate tax and gift tax, the way that we're involved in it is doing preparing business valuations for either gifting stock where to family members or and if somebody passes that owns a business that and we're valuing the business to put a value of the business on their estate tax return
Mm,
for estate tax purposes. So that's what we get in. So the biggest issue is if they just totally undervalue the business and it's an egregious valuation, we won't prepare it. We'll walk away from the job. But they'll always push. Well, can't we get bigger discounts? Can't we get bigger discounts? Can't you exclude this year or don't look at this part of it? So and that's we just don't do that. Are there firms out there that could probably? But if you go ahead at the end of the day and you're pushing these discounts and you're pushing to these defendable valuations, it's going to come back and a taxing authority is going to call you out on it.
mm. So are there kind of financial shortcuts or a financial shortcut that business owners take early on, that which turns into a six-figure legal problem later?
Yes, not keeping good books and records, not having an accountant that is, a good accountant to do their books and records. We don't do traditional accounting,
Mhm.
but there are thousands of good accountants out there. Jason Brown, one of them, that can keep people in line, have their books and records organized. Because at the end of the day, if you are in some sort of a litigation, whether it be a marital litigation, a shareholder dispute, even an estate litigation, where
Mhm.
people are taking advantage of incapacitated persons and they're managing their money, any of those issues, and you don't have good set of books and records or books and records that can be relied upon, you're looking at tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in accounting time and legal time in trying to recreate those books and records, where for just not a whole lot of money each year is in the scheme of things is keeping your books and records in proper order.
Yeah, you're right. So going back to forensic accounting, if
Mhm.
a small business owner thinks forensic accountants only show up after a disaster, what reality check do you give them?
It's not only it could be for anything. I mean, in this world, people are extremely litigious. Somebody could sue you for anything, and they'll find an attorney to take it on. And then you're going to have to provide your financial information in order to defend that lawsuit. So
Yeah,
it's not just a disaster. It's always a good idea to just keep your financial house in order. And if you don't have the time or the know-how to do it, just bring in a professional. It's not going to be it doesn't have to be very, very expensive. Just to keep your books and records and your financial house in order is a good idea.
thank you. Well, you survived the official part of the interview, so congratulations. You're still here, didn't walk out. Thank you so much. I have a couple of personal questions for you because I'm
Sure.
sure people would love to see the other side of David Gresen. He
Can I
always
ask my wife to leave the room?
Well, I know that you and your wife are big dog lovers. You have two
Yes.
dogs. Would you mind telling us their names, what kind of dogs they are, where did you find them?
Sure. It's Milo and Luna, and we could see if. Hey, Milo, Luna, come here. Come here. Come here. Come in here.
It's
Come
so
in here. Yeah, there you go. So
cute.
go up on the couch. All right. Go in your place. Go ahead. Go up. All right, go get there. So Milo and Luna are two party Yorkies. There's
Aw.
Milo. Okay. And then Luna's being a little of try. So where do we get them? We actually got them at a puppy store. I know most people are against puppy stores. But we went to a few rescues. We had to get a hyperallergenic dogs.
Mm,
So went to the rescues. There were none. And we had a dog in the past and it passed, and we said we're never going to get another dog again. We want to do traveling and all that stuff. So
yeah.
we decided we want a dog. And it was right before COVID started. and both of our kids happened to be home. They were in college, but they
Mhm.
both happened to be home. And our daughter said, "Why don't we just go look at
Oh, that's always dangerous.
and my wife wanted, what do you want? A cavapoo. She wanted one cavapoo.
Mhm.
So we went, couldn't find anything, and then we said, why don't we were just passing by, and we went to this puppy store, and we went in, and we saw a cavapoo, which was a beautiful dog, and then we
Mhm.
saw these two little troublemakers,
Oh,
all jumping up and down in a in a pen with each other, and I'm thinking they're so cute together. You know, they love each other, and somebody's going to separate them. So
yeah,
we talked to the owner, and we were able to purchase both of them. And the next day, the world shut down. That's when the shutdown was. So
yeah.
they
It
were,
was meant to be, meant to be.
yeah.
I
So
have such a soft spot for Morkies. I used to have a Yorkshire Terrier, Princess Baby Sunshine Coco Chanel in England. It was the name given. It was a name the breeder gave her. And my sister has a uh, um, what are the small white Morkies, Yorkie with Maltese. So
geez,
my sister has a Maltese in Italy, Tiffany. She's already 15 years old, older lady. And I was telling her about 10 years ago, wouldn't be interesting to crossbreed, a Yorkie Maltese because both are so cute.
you
And
were
then
ahead of
I
the
learned
game.
that someone already came up with that idea, and there is a Morkie. So like, you don't see them in Europe, actually. Morkie is very much a US phenomenon. So so adorable. So very, very smart dogs who definitely think they are huge dogs rather than small dogs,
Uh,
for sure. A
these
lot
guys
of
have like the
personality.
bullying complex though with the big dogs. If they see a big dog, they lose their minds. But they're good. They were trained initially virtually because it was COVID, so we had a virtual dog trainer,
Oh,
and then
wow.
then afterwards they went to real school a few years ago. So
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, David. It was great to see you. Great to see Luna. Great to see, what is
and
the boy's
Milo,
name?
Milo,
Mila Luna. Amazing name. Great to hear your wife in the background.
you want to come say hello?
Sure.
All right,
We're still recording. So,
Hi, Anna.
hi, good to see you.
You too.
all right,
Thanks so much.
all right. Thank you, Anna. Really enjoyed it.